Hi, and welcome to the Future of Development podcast. My name's Anthony Amunategui, and I'm here to inspire people to find amazing careers in the construction development world. If you like our podcast, please make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. If you really like our podcast, make sure you hit the little bell. David, I love having you on the show. You know, you and I have gone way back, right? We've been doing this for a long time together. Love having you on.
Hey, I appreciate the invite, Mr. Anthony. It's been, Big Daddy. I should call you Big Daddy. That's,
Listen, it's Big Daddy, right? And people, my staff, I said, if there was one line that I use over and over again, what is it? And they're like, it's absolutely Big Daddy. That's your thing. And I think that's because I just can't remember people's names. I'm like, hey, what's up, Big Daddy? And then I kind of just took that on as my handle, and I don't know how that happened. It just, in life, you pick something up, you're like, huh. So that's the line they contribute to me, Big Daddy.
Yeah, well, that's how I know you. If I'm texting you or emailing, hey, Big Daddy, what's up, man? Big Daddy, hey, saw you on Facebook there making your leap in, Bahrain, wherever you were, the world traveler.
It was fun to go out. We were on Dubai, and that was
Dubai,
fun.
Sorry, yeah.
That let me tell you, those people are doing. It was great. It was dogs and cats living together, cultures and religions and people, and they're working hard, and people are making great money. They are moving the needle forward.
And it was beautiful too. Everything was pristine and, first class. I mean, all the pictures that you posted, and the water looked cool and just looked like an awesome trip. I mean,
it's worth going to. It's when you travel, I don't know about you, but there's a couple of things, right? You eat great food, but then your eyes eat up great visions, right? Great visuals. And there's no lack of them there. Everything's the biggest. It's like Texas of the Middle East, right? Everything's
sure.
Big, everything's over the top. They had a 7-star hotel. I was like, what the hell is this? And we could afford, we stayed there. We were there for 8 days, and we stayed there at that hotel for 2 days, because any more than that, my kids could not have gone to college. It was.
What was it? What was the plane flight? How did you get there? Chicago to where?
We went Chicago to Qatar, and we flew Qatar Airlines, and in Qatar to Dubai. And I'm gonna tell you something. That Qatar Airlines, they got it down pat. They do it pretty well. The trip itself was enjoyable. I will tell you, we stopped. My wife and I are pretty good at the travel now, and we stopped there in Qatar. We got off and had a great break and a little bit of a trip around there. Ate great, and jumped in, took a shower, had another trip, a couple hours to Dubai, and boom, our vacation was already rolling. And we just went right at it. It was a good stop. We've made the journey fun.
Yeah, no, look, I like looking, I scroll through Facebook, and, but I was enjoying the pictures, and, the one when you were up on, holding by the crane, having dinner that night, that was awesome. And it was just, I don't know what to expect from Mr. Amunategui. It's just, you're the most interesting man in the world.
No, it's my wife. It's not me. It's my wife. I'm just keeping up with her every day, and she loves traveling. And we're on our way home from Dubai, and she's already plotting out her next trip, right? It's always, she's on the way home, and she's already plotting out what do you think about this? I'm like, great. If you want to go, I'm there. And she by day, she's a lawyer. By night, she's like this wannabe travel agent. And seriously, by the time we're done and we get there, she knows who owns the hotel and how long they've been doing it, and their kids and their family, and then the 15 perfect things to do while we're there. It's fun having an travel enthusiast as a wife. It's inspiring. And then, then what happens, some places we go by ourselves, and some places we go with the kids. And that was one we were like, all right, let's just go, because we wanted to go to that Dubai Expo, and I can only get 2 tickets. Right. And so that was cool. It was to go there and see all the pavilions of every country had a pavilion, and every pavilion was about sustainability technology and a little bit of cultural experience about each one of the countries. So it was kind of like going to Epcot, without the rides. There was just a lot
Yeah.
of great stuff about each country, and the United States had they held up pretty well, and India was over the top, and Saudi Arabia did some cool ones, and every pavilion was really really cool. So I think that was worth seeing as a whole, and then we got to go see the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, and man, that was cool. They have a light show in front of that thing at night, and they light the whole building up, and it shines and glows, and it's it's cool. And then it's in front of a mall, and we were shopping at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you see people. I mean, every single person's got bags and bags in their hands. Their communities aren't doing bad. They're I always look at people and say, these people have some money. No matter who they were, the rich Arabs or the middle class one, folks there. It seemed like everybody was doing very, very well by the shopping they're doing.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you can always sell bags in the hand. Tells a lot, just in general, as far as wherever you go. So, but listen, they were awesome pictures. I mean, just everything. It looked really, really cool. Every day I was looking for something else, and so we appreciate you, sharing your travel experience. That's the beauty of the internet and digital. It's like, I can sit in my office in the morning and I'm going through. I'd like to always do my happy birthdays in the morning, and getting notified, and there I'm scrolling through, and there's Mr. Anthony, and you know and Sophia, halfway across the world, maybe three-quarters of the way around the freaking globe, and just hanging out, and just we appreciate you sharing all that stuff, because some people won't do that stuff, so
Traveling has become so much easier, and I think that as we do this, breaking the barrier, once you break the seal of travel, a lot of my friends that haven't traveled yet, I'm like, just make one easy trip, right? Go to Rome, right? You go from here to Rome and back, and it's an easy trip. Everybody there speaks English. The food, everybody loves Italian food. You can't go wrong with Italian food. And not only that, Rome has a lot of great foods from around the world. I mean, actually, they have great Indian food too, if you like Indian food. And everywhere you look is like a postcard. You look over here, or go to Greece. Go to Athens and back. You can get tickets, sometimes off season. They're $600 or $700, and you just break the seal of travel, and you find out, okay, it's not that. It's a big expensive weekend here can be just as well. If you go out to dinner with a family, to a steakhouse, you're spending $500 or $600 going to dinner here, and the same money on a trip, and some you remember forever, right? Now all of a sudden it's not so bad, and we're kind of the nature of buy it on your credit card, buy the tickets and pay it off before you leave, and then when your expenses while you're traveling, you kind of you come with some, and it's not such a bad thing to absorb if you just do it a little bit at a time.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, I have I haven't really traveled that much. I mean, I've been everywhere, a lot of places. Haven't been to Bahrain, but I've been to Egypt, and been to Brazil, and just about all the United States. I haven't gone to Montana, which I'd love to see, and haven't been to Hawaii yet. But other than that, I've seen just about all the United States. Driven across it multiple times. When I went to DU, I used to drive across, so I saw a lot of stuff. And but my first trip was this past December when I flew out for Phoenix for Centerville, and that was my first trip. What was weird was when I went to book my ticket, I'm a Million Miler on Delta, and I went to book my ticket, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot my password to log in. I had to look it up on my phone because I hadn't traveled in 2 freaking years.
Right? I mean,
And, you know,
it's
and,
crazy.
and then they were doing construction at the Atlanta airport, and I didn't know where to catch the shuttle, and I went to the guy at the front. I go, hey, dude, Million Miler, where do I catch the shuttle, man? The construction's finished. I don't know where everything is. And it's been 2 years since I had gotten there. So anyway, traveling, it's a mixed bag, because you got to go through all the rigmaroles of getting there. But once you're there, as long as you have nice weather and good food and all, it's all worth it. And then you get the pictures as the memories. So
you break through the fear, right? A lot of times it's that hassle of traveling, maybe a little fear of traveling. And, I think on the other side, what I like about it for me is it inspires me, right? Like when I go see something new, I look at them and they're just like in Dubai, there's so many amazing things going on that are like in the construction world, they're breaking barriers, right? They're building faster than ever. And I'm constantly looking for, I think sometimes we get stuck in ways of being over here, and I look at them and go, man, they're putting buildings up so fast, and the work they're doing, it's beautiful, right? Like beautiful architecture, great work. The communities are working well together, and it kind of inspires me. So as we travel, I think there's a lot of inspiration in that. And then I also just, I think really vacations for me are eating out somewhere else. So I love eating
Yeah.
out somewhere else. So that's great. It was good to see you at Center Build, and folks back out in the public, going to conventions. Shows like Center Build, also, kind of getting together with my friends and hearing new ideas. Hearing that retail isn't dead. All through the pandemic, it was kind of like, everybody shopped online. Is the retail world going to ever come back? And it's coming back, right? We're seeing a lot of great things that are happening in the retail world. People are they like shopping online. It's convenient, but there's also something about going to a bricks and sticks store and trying it out. I mean, at least for me, I
There's certain things I'm going to buy online, and there's certain things like my wife. She's online every night scrolling through her phone. Looking, just looking like she's got projects, so she's looking for pillows. She's looking for this. She's looking for that. And then she's looking at dogs. Hey, look at this one. I'm like, I have 5 dogs. Hopefully they won't bark while we're on this thing. So anyway, but certain things I want to like when DU they won the national championship. So I know what size my jersey is. I was like, oh, I'm getting I need another jersey, another championship on. So I ordered that one online. Now I'm going to go buy a car or something like that. I want to go sit in it. I want to my kid just bought his first car. Well, he's bought a bunch of it, but he got his first truck. So we looked at so many trucks over the last 3 months. I can tell you everything you want to know. I have an F-150, so he wanted an F-150. We looked around, and by the time you get to the car dealership, it was already sold. I mean, it was insane. There's no cars in the lot, and but so I found this one truck for him. I said, look, this is the one, but I had found 2 other ones. I said, look, we'll go look at these 2, and then you'll look at this one. So I'd send him pictures, which was great. Once again, technology, you can send the interior and the engine and all that. And then he drove back over from Charleston because he's working for Boeing. And we looked at the 2, and then, he bought it, but I told him, I was like, look, pictures are great, but when you see it in person, it's a whole different ball game. He's like, oh man, you were kidding me. This thing is mint. We found a used truck. It was leased. The guy totally took care of it. Didn't have any nicks in it. And so anyway, certain things you got to look at. I mean,
but I bought a car online. We bought that Carvana. We bought an F-150 for one of our superintendents for Joe, my son, who he was going out to Denver, and he's like, he's been using his personal car, and I said, you're probably time for you deserve a company truck, and we got him an F-150, and I bought that on Carvana. I would never saw it. We had gone and looked at some cars at CarMax and at the dealership, and we kind of knew exactly what we wanted, and we kind of dialed it in. And we bought it on Carvana, and they made it effortless. Like literally, they dropped it off behind my house,
oh yeah.
and it was
My parents did the same thing. They bought it on Carvana. They had delivered it. They picked the other car up, delivered the other one. I mean, it was. You know what the crazy thing is? The minute I'm online on my phone, and he would send me, a picture of a truck that he found, all of a sudden I'm getting bombarded by truck.
That's right.
Every other 5 minutes, I'm getting a notification. I'm just swiping through them, looking and looking. I'm like, okay, this one looks good. Copy the link. Hey, what do you think of this one? I mean, technology is freaking unbelievable. It just is, And listen, your phone's snooping on you. You make a word, boom, you get an ad popped at you. It's insane. Not that I don't think it's bad, but it was kind of nice. But now I'm still getting the trucks. I'm still getting them.
It takes maybe to get used to, right? The change of having a phone that listens to you. I'm always like, well, I don't want them listening to me, but then I'm like, what are they going to hear? That that I'm in the bathroom or something. All right, sorry, I'm in the bathroom, and you're listening in my bathroom. But Siri's always listening, right? She's always got her
Hey,
ear on.
listen, your phone is like, it's actually, it's a double-edged sword, because some people think, oh my God, I'm not going to pick up the phone. It could be this or that. But having a phone conversation with someone versus email, or we a Zoom, having just a simple phone call, man, it goes a long way. And I'm just telling you that your phone is, even though it's eavesdropping on you and it keeps all your contacts and it's got all these, having a simple phone call versus sending an email and picking up the phone is golden, because people just, like here we're talking. This is great. But have a nice little phone call. It's very personal. You're not going to be able to replace that either. It's not going to go away. And
They're getting smarter. We were just down at McDonald's World Convention in Orlando,
oh, I
right?
saw that picture too in
Yes.
the car, and yeah, no, I saw it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was kind of out there with the kid. We brought Fia down there, and she's 8 years old, and she goes to the World Convention at McDonald's, and then they open up Universal Studios, and you get a free night over there. McDonald's, they're an amazing company to check out, right? They literally, everybody that works there is super nice, and they're really, believe it or not, they're one of the best companies I've ever worked for. In fact, they may be the best company I've ever worked for. They're just friendly people, working hard and supporting each other, but they're now working on a bunch of neat technology, right? You can see the future where they're working with Watson, right? They now have employed Watson as their drive. You want to do something cool for the magazine. They've got a whole thing on Watson where the drive through. You go through there and Watson answers. There's a woman's voice and, hey, welcome to McDonald's. And she takes your order and she can, and it was fun. Fia and I and Sophie, you go into this kind of room and you get the experience of Watson, right? So Fia's trying to trick her. She's like, I'll like a cappuccino with cheese and I'll take a W. So she was trying to, be the noisy kid in the back seat as we're ordering and see how it would react. And it did great, man. I was like, wow, that's a step forward, right? Imagine for McDonald's having consistency at the drive-through, having multiple lanes, being able to get people through at the same time, and the labor itself, the troubles they're having with getting employees. So now they can focus on other things in the office. So it's fun watching how that technology is advancing, and you can see very quickly how you'll order. They'll have proximity sensors where you'll order, and as you pull into the parking lot, you'll be able to go through the drive-through, or you'll be able to pull in and sit down, and the food will come to you, never going to the register, right? Imagine that. Imagine never going up there and having to order. Your food kind of comes out to you. The restaurant is the food's hot, and it orders and delivers it and has it right to where you're at, right when you get there. So some of that technology is it's a little weird that it's watching you, like knowing where you're at, but it's also kind of fun that it does that. So you can order a lot smarter.
The roller coaster that we've gone through over the last 24 months, it's been an amazing transformation of catalysts of pushing companies to go into the new age, and get rid of some of the dog stores, implement some new looks. You won't recognize retail in 5 years, or restaurants. Dining in restaurants, well, maybe not sit down, but like fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A. I mean, Chick-fil-A is building up this project. They don't even have inside dining. It's like 8 lanes. They're not even doing it, And,
they need it, right? Because their freaking drive-throughs are. First of all, they're the most amazing at drive-through, right?
Oh, no.
They got a line down the road and you're through it in like a minute. You're like, how the flip did that happen? Right?
Yeah.
People just bags
Really,
coming out.
they got 8 lanes. They got 40. They're building this and they knocked the other one down, the franchisee. But I mean, ours locally here in Swanee, the guy who owns it, oh my God, he's got to be on. You should see that place every day at lunch. The line is, it's 1, 2. They put the canopy up now, so you're underneath the stage, so you can get baked in the summer heat. They thought about everything, but the store's there, and they had a Starbucks right next door. It was like the most amazing location. Either Starbucks was lined up, and the Chick-fil-A's lined up, but it's amazing though. Just talking about in general, all of the, there was one of the, who was it? Golden Corral. I mean, they took it on the chin of COVID because they were, buffet style. Now they're coming back, got a new concept. They made things safer. They thought things through. The VP on LinkedIn the other day. He was at some show, and and everybody was saying, hey, it was great to see you coming back, and they're building stores and reopening with a new look. And listen, we went there when my kid was younger, like everybody else. You would go there, and so I just think that you got to think a little out of the box. Your main thing is you want to sell stuff, you want to make money, but also you want to make it as user friendly as possible, as well as convenient as possible as well. And it's just been, whether you're in hospitality, retail, healthcare, any of those things, the name of the game is customer service. You got to be customer service. Customers are golden. They're number one on the priority. Number two, you got to have a great product. 3, you got to back it up. And 4, you always want to be reinventing yourself, because if you're not growing, you're dying. That's retail.
And I would say, and I don't mean to be a McDonald's commercial, but I literally, that was their whole convention was, their customer experience. You can get delivery hot and fresh the way they wanted. Everything that they're doing in the store itself is designed so that there's so much more throughput from multiple different angles, right? That facility takes in, the Uber Eats, the drive-through folks, the people in-store dining, and the amount of volume that the store can handle today with the technology. And I think that's really kind of one of the keys to technology, is that it is constantly, I don't know that our lives get like I always think that one day I'm going to be able to golf all day and make money. And that's not true. The truth is, it's just my life gets a little faster, and I'm able to make more money with less, with less intense, with less work. It actually becomes a little bit more intense, but like McDonald's, they're using technology to handle the drive-through, right? Like, let's say the drive-through gets handled by that. Now the rest of the facility gets a little bit more efficient. And you can see as they continue to automate different parts of the line and change it. And oftentimes you hear people like, well, what happens if they automate everything? What about those jobs? I always love this argument. Like, someone's like, we should stop growing and not do technology because people are going to lose their jobs. I'm like, you caveman. Right?
Someone's got to build that stuff.
Like someone's going to build it. Someone's going to operate it.
Someone's got to deliver it.
Yeah, we answered phones like this. Chicago 555, right? And then we answered phones like this with the rotary phones, and now we all have cell phones, and people still have jobs, but all those jobs changed, right? The evolution of the human and the evolution of the careers will change, and we'll get more productive, and we'll make more money doing it. Ultimately, we make more money than the systems make more money, right? So it's kind of a cool evolution to go through, but it's, I watch them. The technology in the store they're using is amazing. They continue with the apps and the stuff they're doing there, and the automation of the system. Then the food they're working on like organic food. I mean, can you imagine McDonald's talking about organic and the best burger and the stuff that they're putting together from a quality point of view? You're like, wow, that's McDonald's, right? They kind of handled throughput and being a production, but now they're up in the ante on the food quality, right? That's kind of cool. And then their experience in the future stores, I mean, it's never looked better. I mean, they're inside of McDonald's, they're breaking, I mean, they're freaking cool inside. You're like, that's a McDonald's. It used to be all plastic and fiberglass and, Ronald McDonald everywhere. You're kind of like, now it's become a cool third place. I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a third place, but it's still.
No, listen, look, I have a kid. I went to McDonald's. I did all the birthday parties and stuff. So I totally, I totally get all that stuff. When we went to the dealership to get my kid's car, and I'm a Ford guy. We've had so many Fords. Ford loves me. I mean, I don't know how many Fords I've had. Anyway,
All-American. You are an All-American. You are definitely, David, are an All-American.
Well, I do have an RX-8 that's sitting in, that's sitting in my garage, but it's a collector. I'm not getting rid of it. But anyway, we go into this dealership, and we bought in probably, I don't know how many cars from them, but I hadn't been in the dealership for a while. I go in there, it's like a freaking hotel. Nice sofas, big screen TV, nice little area for food, and I mean, I could have freaking stayed overnight there, and they look me, they know I'm coming, they have the truck pulled up, when we got there, they looked me up and like, oh my God, here's an elite customer. We love him, bought all these trucks and cars. And so we go in there and, but it was unbelievable to see. And I went to a bunch of dealers, all over, trying to find these cars. And so some weren't as nice, but this one was beautiful. You want to talk about experience? I mean, I was there.
Yeah.
You got to go through all the paperwork and everything else. And my son bought it, and but still, you're there for a couple hours. They go look at it, you drive and sit back, you hang it. Time flies. But in the old days, you're sitting at that stupid little desk, in a metal chair. The only thing I still don't like about the cars that Carvana doesn't do is like if you go into a dealership, you don't want to. We already know he was already pre-approved. He already had his money. He was already ready to go. All you had to do is buy the car. But a couple of these other places we went to, you had to sit down. They have the middleman. I'm like, why don't you just bring the money manager here? I don't want to deal with this. So
I hate that.
So, let me finish. So the one truck we wanted, right? It needed new tires, and I said, look, those tires are probably $200, $250 a piece to get that, put on about $1,000. I go, look, knock $1,000 off and we'll drive that truck off the lot. He's like, oh, he came back, he goes, my guy's only going to bring me $750. I go, you're only going to give me 3 tires? I go, what's that? I go, I'm walking. I don't even want to deal with you guys. We left. Mr. Corson. No, I told you, he's got to get back to work tomorrow. We want to drive this truck. I don't want to drive it on bald tires all the way across I-24 or I-26 to, Columbia to Charleston on bald tires. If it rains tonight, it's dangerous. I want to get the car up the street so we can get new tires put on the thing. And but other than that, you dealers out there, I'm telling you, get rid of the middleman. Okay. It's ridiculous. You guys that's like this century, so
it's ultimate in brain damage. I went to I last time I bought a car before the one I have now, I went into a CarMax, but I was ready. I didn't know I was ready. Like I was ready for that dealership experience. Like I researched the car. I knew how much I wanted to pay, and I was I walked in and CarMax had this thing. It's one price as is. It's all certified. They've checked all the tires. They check everything. It's all ready for you, right? And you get a 7-day guarantee, and you can take it back.
Bring it back.
And you bring it back, and you get a warranty, a 30-day warranty if anything pops up. And they've been great about stuff. Like if you don't see something, you get home, you're like, oh, look at that. There's a plastic missing or something. They'll fix it. And I walked in, and this woman Ethel just took one boxing glove off of one hand. She took the other boxing glove off. I ended up buying 2 cars. I walked out with 2 cars. I'm like, it was such a great experience. I'm like, I'll take that one. And then we made it easy. And it became, then I was like, I have 7 people in my family now. We have 5 kids and we have the 2 of us. I'm like, there's always 7 people or, in the family. I'm like, I need a bigger vehicle, and I'm not driving a minivan. Not that minivans are bad, but I didn't want a minivan. And
right.
she walked in, and she walked over to a Suburban, and she didn't even get in the car. She just opened the door and she reached in and she turned it on, and it had like one of those muffler packages. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I can drive that and be a dad and carry soccer balls and all the stuff I need to carry as a dad. She was, that's the price. Great. I did. I walked out. It took me 15 minutes. I took a couple pictures, sent it to Soph, and she's like, you're buying a car right now? I'm like, yeah, I'm buying this car. She goes, great. Bring it back. I don't have to go to the dealership. No, we're done. My daughter and I bought it, and it was like that easy, right? Take the ease out of it, right? They're getting smarter and smarter of ways of doing it. And I bought a Tesla in like 15 minutes. I want to test.
Oh my God, Tesla?
Yeah.
This is a really good story. So my son's been flipping cars. He's been flipping motorcycles. He's a mechanic. He's into all this stuff. So he had a 2005 AMG Mercedes. They only made so many of them. Had a racing package on it, but it was costing him about $600. They don't make them anymore. It was in mint condition, black, tan interior, beautiful, really fast. But you spend about $600 a month to go to and from his place in Mount Pleasant to Boeing and back, and then to the gym. And I said, look, for the amount of money you're spending on gas, you could get a Tesla. So this guy had a Tesla used one. It was only 2 years old. He was an independent dealer working out of his house. So I had sat in him on trade show floors. I sat in the SUV, the sedan. This was a sedan, but I never driven in one. So we get in that car and we go on the ride. Oh my God. Talk about technology. And
Oh
this
my God.
guy knew everything about it. I mean, he was he knew he's showing us up. And he takes his hand off the steering wheel. And we're driving, and I'm like, oh my God, this is just dicey. And he said, Dave, you travel, right? Or you did. I said, if you had this car, you could program this car to drive you down to the airport, drop you off, and it will drive itself back and park itself in the freaking garage. He said, there's a nuclear bomb attack, God willing, God forbid. He said, the air filtration system in here will save you. Eventually you're going to have to get out. So, but it'll save you. Must thought about everything. The stereo system, it was comfortable. And let me tell you, talk about fast. I saw this thing on Facebook. It beat a Lamborghini and a new Corvette off the line, and it was just amazing. Now, here's the hitch. The batteries only last for 10 hours, 10 years warranty, and they're toxic. So there's an issue with getting them. And I'm not pounding on Tesla, and I'm a recycler, so I understand this. It's just like the windmills. They've got all, you can have all these wind farms, all those blades, all that stuff. They're toxic. So there's a hitch with that stuff. All you green guys out there, I'm all for it. But where are we going to put all this stuff if we're going to go electric? That's a problem. So, but
they'll have a solution. But look, by the time they get to that point, I mean, in the beginning, you're right. But my bet is that what he's working on and the stuff that he's doing, by the time he gets to a big enough size, they'll find ways to recycle those batteries into some material that will work.
The other thing is that it takes so much construction of digging up all the dirt and all that. And I'm not pounding on it. I'm just stating fact. I'm a fact guy. I don't go down the rabbit holes. I deal in fact. That I just saw a thing that it takes like 500,000 tons of dirt to build one lithium battery. So from a conservation point of view, for all the greenies out there, all right. And I'm a recycler, so I'm on the green side. Okay, my parents, we've been in recycling since 1888. Okay, we were doing recycling before it was even a fact.
1888. Wait. What were you guys recycling back then? Horse shit? Come on.
I don't know, but my parents' company's called Maripollock Steel. We've been recycling steel since 1888, and it's still in business. Okay, I worked in the scrapyard and all this stuff. Another man's junk is another man's gold. Okay, so I mean, we recycle everything. The bottom line is I had to do my time. Like all the sons, we got our driver's license. We were 16.
So we did.
I had to go into the scrapyard. I did the acetylene torch. I shoveled asbestos. I did demolition. I laid railroad tracks. And now my cousins are running the company. And I'm in construction. I'm just not. I could have gone into the business. I didn't. But I'm still in construction. So, but the thing about Tesla, it was an amazing machine. Beautiful lines, quiet, stereo, unbelievable. I mean, everything he thought about was great, and but getting back to my thing, it takes so much dirt and so much of that stuff to build one car that you got that's the thing that kind of like because I think of the earth as a living thing. It's you got trees, you got the oil, you got dirt. It's just like our bodies. You got water, you got blood, you got organs, you got all these things that you have to maintain. It's like a machine. So these are the things that Mr. Musk, if you're out there listening, I'm just telling you as a consumer, love the car, but there's some issues on the back end that need to be fixed.
By the way, he listens every week. I'm telling you, I've pinged it. He's listening every week. The thing I see those as we expand, and we keep expanding.
You have a Tesla?
I love my Tesla. I love that car. I've had lots of cars in my life. I have a Model X. That thing makes every time I get in it. And my wife, when we first got it, she's like, "I'm not driving that thing. I'm going to drive the Suburban."
You probably can't get out of her hands now.
Get out of my car. And not only that, she eats in my car. And I'm like her and the kids eating there, the little piglets. I'm like, I love her, my wife to death, and she can do whatever she wants because I love my wife. But she eats in my car, and that makes me insane. But that car makes me so flippin' happy. I get in it. It's fast.
I would totally buy a Tesla. I love it. Listen,
oh, God, it's sexy.
When we were in the dealership, they wanted to give me I have a 2015 F-150. It only has, I don't go anywhere. I work out of my house. It only has about 60,000 miles on it. It's in mint condition, loaded.
You're a little
And,
man that drives back and forth from church every week. That's it. You're like that perfect car.
so he goes, hey, Mr. Corson, we need, how much you want for your car? You could have that brand new electric over there for whatever. And you could power your house on it. And, so my next car, when I upgrade, I want the F-150 electric. And I don't know if I'll, I don't know if I'll go for the top of the line one, but it'll power the house if there's anything goes wrong for X amount of days. Just a beautiful car. And the thing about Tesla was amazing is, 200 miles. So Charleston to here, the guy's like, hey, you can even find the charging stations along the way. It'll tell you where they're at.
Yeah.
You could buy the adapter for the supercharge quick. Boeing had 4 charging stations on their thing, so he could go to work the 2 to 10 shift, plug his car in, but it was just an amazing. If anybody has not been in a Tesla, you got to go for a test drive. It'll just talk about technology. I mean, all the stuff we're talking about, it'll blow you away. What's going on with that? It's amazing.
My buddy Jimo calls me up. He goes, hey, I got a ride. I got a test drive in one of those Teslas. You want to go with me? I'm like, yeah, I gotta go with you. This is a couple years back, 2018, when I bought the. He goes, yeah, I'd love to go with you. And we go and we drive. And the guy did the same thing. We're driving on the highway, and he turns around, he starts looking at me. And he's not looking at the road. I'm like, hey, wait, the road. He's like, no, it's driving itself. I'm like, what? And he's over here, and he was doing that patty game. He's like, watch. We're going around a corner. It goes around a corner. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Got all the sensors. It's unbelievable.
It was great. It's unbelievable. And we're going like 70 miles an hour down the. I'm like, this is amazing. And then we pull a parking lot, and he hits a little button, it parks itself. And I'm like, this is awesome. And it was like I just could see myself. I'm like, this is changing this is game changing. Right? All of a sudden, I got inspired. I walked back. I bought a car, and I called Sophie. I bought another car without calling her, and she calls me and she said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm buying a Tesla," and my son was there, and she's like, "He bought another car without me," and he goes, "Look how much that Tesla is." I'm like, "Well, I got the ridiculous one, and it's fun, and it's got the Model X, and I guess my son told her how much I spent, and I'm like." I'm gonna have to answer that one, but I got the extended batteries and I got the warranties and and it's got the self. Now it hasn't gotten that far where it can drive itself back. I don't know. They're kind of that's coming, and they say one day it'll be able to robotaxi and all that, but it's not quite there yet. Now it's fun. Like I can get in and I can program it to drive on the highway and get off the highway and do a couple things.
This guy said, he goes, you could drive this to the airport and program it, and it'll drive itself back and park it right here in this driveway.
It will, but not yet. We haven't.
This is what the guy told me, and I was like, "That's awesome." I don't have to, I mean, it just, but if that's the only thing that really didn't happen, all the other things that was on it.
Right.
And like I told him, I said, "Look, if it's about the same amount of money you're going to spend on gas, it's a wash, and then you have an asset that's paid off, and you can keep it. You can always get another battery, or you could sell it and get an upgrade." They come to you if anything breaks. They come to your house. You don't have to take it to the dealership.
Service is amazing.
I mean, just everything. And so I wasn't even but after I came back, he's like, "Dad, man, I can't believe you're thinking about." I said, "Bro, man, if you don't buy that, maybe maybe we'll buy it." I don't know. I just I sold my house back in October, so I'm living in a little shack while I'm building up on the lake, and I don't have enough room for we had like 6 cars at one time, and now we're so it's but
wait, the cars that are in the yard that are so high you can't see. Listen, I know you're in Atlanta. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No. Listen, I haven't broken ground because I don't want to spend all the money on the inflation. Plus, I don't know if I get all the products and all this other stuff. So I'm just kind of sitting on my land. The HOA is like, "Hey, Mr. Corson, you're going to break land?" I'm like, "Look, if you want me to clear the land, I will. But nothing in my contract said how long I had to take to build my we have the plans. I'm just sitting on waiting for things to come down. So I know because, you're in construction, you do a project, you bid it out, and then all of a sudden you have to add another 30, 40, 50% because prices have gone up on everything that depending on what you're looking at, that you're like, oh, well, and you're a businessman, you know, you want to make money.
Escalations were real. I mean, they're real, and I'm starting to see it. The curve starting to head back down. It's time to do that. It got a little ridiculous there. There are 60% increases across the board on materials and availability, and then what happens? Everybody panicked, and companies bought restaurant groups that were working for bought air conditioners for all their projects for a year out. Now, it was just like when the pandemic happened. Everybody run out to buy toilet paper, and they bought enough for 2 pandemics, and that fear kicks in, and that started a little gluttony, and now there's a little bit of choke in there. But you're starting to see wood prices come down, materials are starting to become available. Mm-hmm. And it'll get back there. It'll normalize out pretty quickly here, and through this whole experience, everybody's had to get smarter about the way we do things. We lost a lot of people to the industry, the construction industry. A lot of people left. I'm not sure where everybody went. The restaurant world and the construction world, it's like aliens came in and sucked them up off the earth. Or they all went and started other careers. I think they learned in the pandemic they could do some other stuff. Even though we worked the whole time, we worked all the way through the pandemic in our
Me company. Too. I worked through it. I mean, yeah. I'm not essential. I worked all the way through it. That's the sector I'm in. Hey, this morning I'm talking to a contractor out in California, and I was like, "Hey, how's business? Blah blah blah. You're up early," and I go, "Well, I know. I have to catch you early in the morning because I know you're out and about." I go, "So how's business?" He goes, "Yeah, it's really good, but I could use about 5 more superintendents and 5 more PMs, and I'd be golden, but I can't find them. They're nowhere to be found."
We're work hard. But we're lucky is that we never let go of our people. We kept them all through the pandemic, and now we're benefiting from that because we held strong. And hey, thank God for the PPE and all that stuff. They really did help companies like us get through it. And it was hard. I'm not going to tell you that we made any money during the pandemic. We barely made it through, and if anything, we we lost some money, but we made it. We had enough reserves to do so. Thank God for that. But now we have the benefit of that because we have the staff to go forward, and the programs that were kind of they're all kind of pent up, and now we're rolling through some great stuff and great projects, and the customers that we kept. We just kept working and saying, "Hey, look, we got smarter. We figured out how to, instead of trade stack everybody on the job site at one time, we went to shift stacking, and that was revolutionary for us. We spread that. It used to be everybody went to work at 6:30 in the morning on a job site and quit at 2. But now we figured out, look, there's a lot of people that will come in. There's a lot of the older guys like me that get up at 3 in the morning. I get up early, right? I'm way early, and I'd love to get in and out of something early. And I'm at the gym at 4:30, right? When that door opens, the ladies, they're looking at me every day. I'm opening, and I'm there early. And we've had a lot of people that want to go to work early. And then we had a lot of the young guys that stay up late, and they're like, "Hey, we don't really want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We don't mind going to work at 10 or 11." And it was great because now we can have people who want to work later, be on a job site till 7 or 8 o'clock, depends where they're at. And now we spread the load out because project management skills have changed. The software that we use, the way that we look at job sites, the way that we communicate with each other, we're able to have it so that a job site can have a lot bigger time period than ever before. In fact, I'm going to say that's the trick to the future. That if you look at, and if we work on that almost every day around here, is that we watch our job. We have job site cameras on every job site, and we just watch the productivity of it, and we start thinking, all right, how do we get more things in through that time, right? Where what can we do to get that job site? And you can see a future where robotics will come in and work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and across. The interviews that I'm doing here, I see the newest robots that are coming out. It's cool what's coming out in the construction world, and you can squint your eyes and very quickly see robots working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, building stuff, and maybe set the robots free at night to do drill. The guys over at Hilti got this great new robot called the J-Bot, and it screws fasteners into ceilings for high rises. You can see it really easily where you could set it free, at the end of a shift. It could drill 1,000 holes for all the hangers that need to get hung for, the HVAC and the plumbing, and come back in the morning and the guys are just boom. They could do that in the J-Bot. Right. They can work by themselves all day. And, that being, It's something that you should take 2 or 3 people to do. And you can see how, and by the
And
way,
it's consistent too. You know,
consistent and perfectly on. Like you don't get to the other side and find off your quarter inch off where, 2 guys were working, one on one side, one on the other side, get to the middle. All of a sudden they're just, and hangers don't work unless they're perfectly on. You can't bend metal that way. And, the JBot is, that's, to me, that's the bag phone of cellular. Remember the bag phone? Remember those big old, you had the big old suitcase you had to carry with you. And today you got this old thing. The JBot today is here. It's a start down the path. You can very quickly see how that robot on a job site starts with just drilling up, which is a pain in the ass. I mean, if you ever drilled up, having that stuff, the cement fall on your face while you're doing it, right? It's a pain in the ass. And your arms, even with, we've interviewed guys with exoskeletons and all the stuff, but you're on an exoskeleton trying to drill upwards. It's not that easy. It helps, but it's not that easy. It's still a painful job. Now the JBot does that thing. And here, just imagine you got 1,000 holes to drill. You leave at night, come back in the morning. They're hanging in the morning, that floor. It makes it that much more efficient than those 2 people that had to drill all day long can now do something else that's a lot smarter. So I don't know that it'll ever get rid of all of our work, but the work that sucks, that repetitive, painful work that's up, now gets, a robot does that perfectly.
Oh yeah. Listen, talking about the shifting, when my kid went to Boeing, he thought he was going to do the 5 to 2 shift or 6 to 2, whatever it was. And there was another guy that they hired and he was having kids. He was, hey, I'm going to have to get up early anyway. Would you like to take my shift? He goes, what shift are you? He goes, oh, I'm 2 to 10. He goes, oh yeah, man. I don't have to get up in the morning. I can go out after my shift. I mean, and they're still doing the same thing. They're working on the planes. They're coming in, they're coming out, and so that whole shift thing. It's some people want to get up early, some people want to get out late. Hey, you're keeping your employees happy. That's the name of the game, to keep them. Because the last thing you want to do is have someone there and then they leave 5 months later and they got to retrain someone else.
It's painful. It's painful. How do we find, ways that work with the people that work with us, right? So that they find their magistry, the stuff that works really, really great with them, the stuff that, they're the part where they're magical, and put them where they belong, right? If they're young guys and want to stay up late at night and get to work a little later, great. If they're older guys or older, whoever they are, find spots. There's plenty of spots throughout it, but you couldn't do that before, right? If you did that before, inevitably you'd go to work on a wall and there'd be a stack of drywall there, right? And then your whole day was shot because you had to go find someone to get the forklift and move the drywall. And today you can have just about enough drywall for the team that's there, and they know exactly what they're working on. Put the drywall close to where they're at. The stuff that we do today to think way smarter, right? How do you steps? And, we did studies over the last couple of years where just locating the porta potties changes, if you put that thing 40 more feet away from where it needs to be for a team. So how do you get, if you have 3 porta potties on a job site, instead of hanging them all over here, how do you spread them across a job site so the people who need them can get to them quicker, and you don't have that half hour worth of time it takes to go get to the toilet, get back to the, now the teams can, be way more productive than they were before. So I think that's, what we're seeing is that technology is giving us insight that we didn't have before, and tools that make it easier to see things than we did before. The project management skills that we had, you can only think about so many things at one time. As a human, I might be able to only get to, let's say I can get 15 thoughts on a schedule at a time, and just think 50. As AI comes into place, it can do hundreds, right? It can interact with hundreds of ideas and communicate with thousands of people simultaneously. The things that we're going to be able to see where we're going in the business is going to change. It's going to be fun because you can't see it from where we are today, the effect that's going to have on the business, because you just can't even comprehend it from where we are now.
Talking about placement, I had a nice lady, young girl. She's out of New Jersey. She's a flooring installer, and she in middle school she knew she wanted to work with her hands, so she went to tech school and figured out flooring installation. She didn't want to work outside and she wanted to be cold, and flooring was inside. She goes, so that's the route she went. So she's on this big apartment building. It's like 73 stories, I think it was. She was telling me. Anyway, the elevator can only lift 1,000 pounds, but they delivered all this flooring material with the bags that were 2,500 pounds. So she's like 4'11" and 100 pounds dripping wet, and she had to freaking move all these freaking bags off the thing. It took her and the guy's like, "You're gonna move all that?" So I go, "Well, who else is gonna do it?" So anyway, there was the thing right there. If they would have just had a little communication that, hey, the elevator on the site only lifts 1,000 pounds. These pallets are 2,500. We need to have them, but she had to undo all the things, and then but what are you gonna do? And so it was. But her and her crew, they all know each other. They worked, and they go one floor, boom, 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 and then what the cool thing was, even during the roller coaster with the bug, she said that when she was on these projects, if someone on one of the other floors, got sick, they didn't have to shut down the project. They would that crew would have to take their quarantine, but the rest of they were tested every day or whatever, and none of them got sick. And so it was really cool how in a multi-story building, how they went about it versus having the whole project shut down, depending on what state you were in and regulations, all that stuff. So, but it was a really, really cool thing. Just like you said, the porta potty. Hey, the pallet, it's 2,500. The thing only lists 1,000. Come on, just little stuff.
It happens. That story happens 1,000 times a day.
Yeah.
On every project, and that's what excites me about where we're going with AI, and the BIM technology is amazing, right? With Revit, BIM, being able to look at things a lot smarter than we ever did before. All the you could see where the labor. I had a guy on here the other day who has a robot that ties rebar. Like literally, it's a little thing. It just imagine on our street crew, right? The millions of little connections between the rebar, right? But, and just there's millions of them, right? And it just goes down the thing,
yeah.
Right? It takes that crappy ass. That's a tough job. I mean, bent over all day long, bending rebar is not easy work. And now it takes that same job and moves it to the setup. Right, it moves it into the project management side of it, where the best technicians that run those are people who did rebar work, who understand it better, the logic of it, and they're that now they went from back breaking to more of a technical job where it's a lot less physical, a lot safer. Right now, the bot does the work, but the guy who knows the most about rebar actually does a great job of setting it up. So now they move him over to a much safer job. And that to me, should be the example that we look at for those folks that are afraid of where technology is going to. Yeah. By the way, I'm afraid, right? I'm 53, and sometimes I look at these young guys and think to myself, man, am I going to be outclassed? How fast is it before I become irrelevant? And keeping up with technology and things are moving, just trusting that we always have, right? The world is always taking care of us. All the stuff that's happening right now really serves us well, and it will make our lives safer and smarter. We may bang up against a couple things that mess us up, but ultimately, that job of bending rebar becoming a tech job is a great example.
I talking about rebar. I had a guy called Sam the Concrete Man out of Denver, has 70 franchises. Anyway, he said that rebar. I said, yeah, I've seen it plenty of times. He goes, yeah, now there's a new product that comes in that's going to replace rebar and make it so much easier. And once again, here's a guy, old school, started at one location and then, bought the franchise and the company, and now they have this other. So it's amazing. Product innovation, thinking out of the box, how you can make things easier. Every day it just gets, here's a little thing. Like I used to send out my reports. Like I would send you the general contractor survey, the project, and you'd have to fill it out on the thing. So what I did this year? My circulation, I found out my circulation thing. I can do all these forms right online. So I don't have to read hieroglyphics. So I started doing it with the engineer. I did it for the roofing report. Then I have engineering coming up. So this guy, one of the engineers, wrote me, he goes, David, love the new format. Oh my God, no typos. And this is awesome. Plus, all I have to do is download it, shoot it to my artist, and he flows it. He doesn't have to key it. He doesn't do have to any of that stuff. And then proofing, it takes me like 2 seconds because everything's already been keyed by the other client. I don't have to guess. Is that a 6 or a 7 on his dollar or whatever? So it was just one of those things. So now I'm gonna list all the. I have a girl that lays them out. Put the form. I'm gonna put them all out. On the new site. When it gets up there, and it just little things like that. You don't think about it. But
David, it's the technology will. For everything that people are afraid of will dramatically change, make our lives better, right? Our lives have continuously gotten better. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way. By the way, my brain is Jurassic Park, right? I mean, I don't always feel that way. I have to kind of tune into looking around going, yeah, actually, I'm doing pretty darn good. Life is doing pretty darn good. When I was in Dubai, watching people with all those bags going, look, no matter who they were all carrying 10 bags. And I was like, they're all doing pretty good. So, David, I love you and I talking. It's we've been doing this for a long time together, right? A long time, right? And as we keep evolving as men, we keep evolving as businesses. I'm grateful to have you on. Oh, look at that! Look at that ad over there. Like that's a good-looking construction company right there.
Yeah, man. CDO, look them up.
There you go. Nicely done.
This right here was the last magazine that I printed over my 20 some odd years. This was August of 2021. White Castle had their biggest store ever that I featured. Anyway, this was the last issue that I printed. You know what the amazing thing is? Now I'm 100% digital. I just placed an order for my cover feature from last month and a couple other people. Still people want to get, so I had this print on demand. I can send the issue. How many do you want? Blah, blah, blah. A little pricey, but they'll look just like this. And, you can still get the print copy if you want it. And, so it's, it's an amazing thing, just technology in itself. I mean, I was a print face-to-face guy and I'm virtual right now.
How hard was that? How hard was it? I mean, let me just unwind this one, right? I was going to wrap up, but let me unwind this because I think this is something that's the evolution, right? The continuous change that it took to go from, oh my God, now I'm here. Now I'm going to a digital format rather than. I was
lucky because I had a digital magazine, so I had it for a long time, but I ignored it. It was kind of like a second. It's like a stepchild, second class citizen. I had it just so if anybody wanted to see it, they could have it there. And I had all this content on there. But when, listen, January and February of 2020, I did my 10th anniversary. You were in Jacksonville. We did the Brew Tour. We went go-kart racing. We did the tour of the Jacksonville Stadium. That was a nice event.
That was fun.
Nice little hotel on the water. People got to do some stuff. I did my first cocktail party, and then, everything got shut down in March. I was fighting with my printer. Oh my God, half my circulation's been laid off. The offices are closed or they've been furloughed. I'm going to waste all this money on it. Oh, David, your economy's of scale. When the press is going, it's not doesn't cost that much. And so I bit the bullet. I printed, and then I sat back, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to wait 2 months? I'm bi-monthly, and so. My artist later, we had a power on like, let's go monthly. We already had our Domino's feature done. And then I found out I had all, 16,000 pages of content that I already had done on the web. We put this code on our site. Now I've become almost like a data subscription service. You've seen it. It's That's unbelievable great. About the amount of projects that are going on. And, I had 28 million people hit our website last year. 28 million, and they're not all bots because I have the code on there. I know who's coming, and I did a dossier. I don't know if you looked at your dossier that I sent the other day. They were all multi-million-dollar projects. So I had this. I'm not gonna say who it was. I had one of my advertisers come back to us. David, some of those projects are bigger than our entire company. I said, dude, you got to think big, okay? Sure. If you don't think big. I could put a bunch of small projects in there. I just picked the ones. The biggest thing is it shows that these big guns that are spending, hundreds of millions of dollars on these projects are visiting my site and they're consuming content, which means you should send me stuff. so I can post it up there, and while they're consuming, they can think about you. And they're not going to put all their eggs in one basket. They're gonna shop it around, because competition makes the world go round. And so I went to my code guy and I shot him the email after. I go, do you see this? And I went back to him. I said, hey, I'll try to put some smaller projects on there for you, but I really don't, because I pick them. And I want to put a couple of retail, a couple of restaurant, healthcare. I'll put but diverse. And they all need roofing, they all need flooring, they all need project management, they all need, they need all those things. So then I went back to them again and said, hey, remember, I know you're a seasoned professional, but they're not going to put all their eggs in one basket. Then later I thought about it and I was like, why would he even think that? So I went back to him a third time. I said, just one other thing, food for thought. You should think big. If you don't think big, you got to always think big. You have to. Just, look at Elon Musk. He's thinking big. Okay, how am I going to get this electric car? How am I going to get SpaceX? How am I going to buy Twitter? How am I going to do all this stuff? If he thought small, he's thinking big. He's thinking like gigantic. All you people think big. You never know. You never know.
Absolutely. The bigger we can dream, the bigger. By the way, that's the problem with being, the leader, right? I have to continuously make my vision and see things bigger than ever before. If I'm trying to, there's folks that are like, I don't want to keep growing. I don't want to go. I'm like, stop. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're in this business, if you're in the construction world, development world, and you're not growing, the technology that your people use, from the day you meet a client to the day that you turn it over, and the way you follow up with groups and the maintenance that you do, if you're not looking at every part of that and trying to implement technology across the board, you're going to be outclassed quickly, because there are people that are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get smarter at it than we are. And it's the chase that wakes me up anymore. It was what inspires me. It's like, look, there's some young guy out there trying to run a construction business with a lot more technology than I am. And their whole goal is to, look, and that makes them a lot more nimble. Right, it takes a lot less weight off. They can communicate to more subcontractors. They can project manage better. They can follow up and see the vision of it better. They can paint the picture with their subs better, which makes everybody in the job site more efficient. So, as we do this, if we're not thinking big and continuously pushing ourselves to grow, it's a foolish place to be. And David, you're always thinking big. I love it. Your growth and the stuff that you do. It's fun. It's fun having you as a partner. If people want to come see your magazine, put the coordinates in there.
Okay, if you CCR, that's Charlie Robert, a hyphen or a small dash, and then mag, michaelapplegeorge.com, ccr-mag.com. We send out 125,000 issues. I got the CEO of Stuckey's coming up. So if you've ever been on the road, you probably went in there to use their bathroom and bought some, so there you go. Stephanie Stuckey, she's going to be on the cover. And, but we listen, you got any projects? If you have anything, I look at everything. I actually will come back to you, and I post, I'll send you the link. I ask you to share it. And I'm always looking, it's like I always tell people, if you want to win the lottery, you got to buy a ticket. You can't win. You don't send me something I can't look at, I can't find a place for it. You never know what might end up in digital ink or real ink. And content's king. Everybody, and data is just addicting. People get it's insane. You see stuff, how they're doing it, and I'm seeing some really cool stuff that's out there. You should see some of the stuff that come in that I'm like, that's interesting. That I can't wait for this to come to fruition. So
I'm getting ready to go down to Hilti down there and play in their R&D department down in Texas. And I can't wait to go down. They got all their new cool toys that are coming out. The power tools and the stuff they've got coming out it's changing the business, right? This business, what's fun about construction is it's been archaic for 1,000 years. Coliseum and Boston markets were built with the same technology. I swear it was. Maybe we had Excel and they didn't have that when they built the Coliseum, but it wasn't much brighter. It was literally carry heavy crap over and bang on it. And, we built a Boston market. But, today what's coming, the technology, stuff that we're using. It's all that, since BIM happened, it really excelled this business so much faster. And, the digital world can now see it. And now what's really coming out with the metaverse and all the stuff that's coming with metaverse, all that stuff. When you and I will get into some future shows, I get people all hyped up on what's coming for the metaverse. Every brand's hunting down that. They're like, what does it mean? And what should I be doing? There's a lot of stuff to go there. Blockchain technology entering the field. So there's a lot of great stuff to happen. David, you and I will talk forever because we'll never stop. And I love you, brother. I love you. Thanks for being on the show. And as always, it's a lot of fun. We'll keep doing this together. And thanks a lot.
Hey, we appreciate it. And all you out there, listen, we're in Q2. Before you know, it's going to be summer and then holidays. 2022 is going to be over. Everything happens every day. It's politically, business. I mean, the information is just flying. I can't even keep my eye on the thing. All I know is I get up early in the morning, and before I know it, I'm posting at night, and then my wife's, you got to go to bed, and then I got to get up and do it every day over, but I stay positive, got to laugh, got to have fun, and tools with any kind. If you have the right tools, you can do anything. Soon it'll be with the right robot, you can do anything. You know what that's funny? The girl I had on my podcast, she goes, I have a tool room that, Bosch would just love, because I've got every time thing. I grew up with my father. He thought he was a weekend warrior and whatever, and blah blah blah. And I have, and I said, yeah, I still have my erector set when I grew up, man. I was building stuff with my hands all the time. So with the right tools, you can do anything. You got to learn how to use them, But it's an exciting, it's an exciting time. And I know I'm so glad the last 2 years are kind of behind us. The light, it's basically the lights in the tunnel, outside the tunnel, and things are getting back to normal, and it's good to see people getting out to the shows. I like the virtual world still. I don't know if I'm coming back or not. Who knows? I might be the only one standing in the virtual. That's okay with me.
You're coming back.
I know. I put hybrid on my ad for my summit, but I am going to bring my cocktail parties back. So that'll be the first thing I do, and I think I'm doing one in Columbus in next month. And or in June, that'll be my first one that we do, and we'll do one here in Atlanta, and
do one in Chicago. Come do one over here. We need to see. All right, listen, I love you, brother. Commercial Construction Renovation Magazine. Go look it up right now. David Corson, the magician, is get him some info. Get him on get on this magazine. Follow up with him. I love you, David. We'll catch up with you. Have another show on you. Have another show again. Thanks, bro.
For all you D alums, go Pios. Let's be Providence this weekend, all right? Come on, man.
Thanks for joining us. My name is Anthony Amunategui, always looking for people to bring insight into the industry, finding ways to inspire people to have amazing careers in the development world. If you liked our podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. If you really liked our podcast, make sure you hit the little bell. Thanks again for listening. Please share it with your friends.